You know, in a world where economic power is always shifting, there are a few countries that are quietly gearing up to really shake things up. Today, we're going to zero in on one of them, a nation that stepped out of the shadows and right into the global spotlight. We are talking about Colombia. So first up, let's unpack why so many people are calling Colombia a rising economic star. To really get a handle on its new place in the world, we've got to ask, what is it that makes this country so special in a region that's already packed with potential? Well, for starters, you just have to look at a map. Colombia has this incredible geographic advantage that no other South American country has. It's got major coastlines on two different oceans. This makes it a natural hub, a perfect gateway for trade, connecting the Americas, Europe, and Asia. This amazing location really sets the stage for a huge question. Is Colombia on track to become the next big global economic star? For years, the country was known for other things. But now, the economic numbers are starting to tell a completely different and way more exciting story. And hey, just before we dive deeper, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share and like this explainer if you find it useful. All the information we're using here is compiled from open sources around the world. Thanks for that. And it's not just us saying it. Economists have already put Colombia on a very special list. You've probably heard of the BRIC countries, right? Well, now there's a new group of up-and-coming economies called the CIVETS. And what's really amazing is that Colombia is the only country from Latin America on that list. That's a huge vote of confidence in its future. So what is actually powering this incredible transformation? Let's pop the hood and take a look inside the economic engine to see what's making it roar, from how big it is to what specific industries are driving it forward. First of all, let's get the scale right. We're not talking about some small niche economy here. Colombia is the fourth largest economy in all of Latin America. That size gives it real influence in the region and makes its growth a pretty big deal for everyone. And this chart, wow, this really shows you the momentum that put Colombia on the radar. If you look back at this key period, you can see the economy was just exploding, hitting a peak growth of 6.5% in 2014. That's not just steady growth. That's a full-on economic surge that made the whole world sit up and pay attention. Now, a massive chunk of that boom came from natural resources. I mean, look at this table. Crude petroleum alone was worth almost $26 billion in exports that year. Throw in coal, and you can see just how much the oil and mining industries were fueling that incredible expansion. But here's where it gets really interesting. While oil and coal bring in a ton of money from exports, the economy back home looks very different. The services sector is the real giant here, making up a whopping 56% of the entire GDP. That tells you this is a modern, complex economy that isn't just about digging stuff out of the ground. This kind of growth and diversity didn't just happen by accident. It was the result of a very deliberate plan to roll out the red carpet for international business, basically hanging a giant open for business sign on the whole country. Let's see how they did it. And you can see the results of those changes right here. By 2015, the World Bank ranked Colombia as the #1 easiest place to do business in all of Latin America. You don't get a ranking like that by chance. That's proof that their reforms to cut red tape and attract investment were actually working. They've made setting up a company incredibly straightforward. You get a legal rep, you get your paperwork notarized, and you register with the Chamber of Commerce. That's it. The whole thing can be done in 3 weeks, sometimes even less. It's incredibly efficient. What's really smart is how targeted these incentives are. They're not just throwing money around. They offer things like legal stability agreements, which is basically a promise to investors that the rules of the game won't suddenly change on them. It's all about building confidence and attracting very specific kinds of businesses. Okay, but no country story is perfect, right? To get the whole picture, we have to talk about the challenges and the hurdles that Colombia still needs to clear. Because tackling these issues is what's going to define its next chapter of growth. This quote really frames the biggest challenge perfectly. It's saying that corruption isn't some unstoppable monster. Instead, it's a problem you solve by getting the balance right, creating enough opportunities for people while also having strong rules and institutions. It's a balancing act that Colombia is working on every day. And these challenges have real-world consequences for businesses. Just imagine trying to get things done when you're stuck in a slow bureaucracy or paying a fortune to move your products around the country. On top of that, you have a massive informal economy. We're talking almost half of all business activity happening off the books. These are the real-life headaches that can slow down an otherwise booming economy. But here's the crucial part. Colombia is not ignoring these problems. They are tackling the infrastructure issue head-on with a massive $7 billion program to build thousands of kilometers of new roads. That's a direct attack on one of their biggest economic hurdles. All right, so for our final piece of the puzzle, let's zoom back out and look at how Colombia has strategically connected itself to the rest of the world. This is about more than just trade deals. It's about cementing its place in the global economy. See, this isn't just a random list of agreements. It's a brilliant web of alliances. They've secured special access to the biggest markets in the world, like the US and the EU. And with the Pacific Alliance, they've teamed up with other major Latin American players to do business with the booming economies in Asia. It's a very smart strategy.
So when you put it all together, the takeaway is pretty clear. The foundation for success is absolutely there. Colombia has the geography, the dynamic economy, the business-friendly policies, and the global connections. All the pieces are on the board. So the real question for the future isn't if Colombia will keep growing, but what it will take for it to truly step up and lead the entire region.